Item agenda 4.1, discussion and possible action regarding official publication. Yeah, I know this was something I talked to Steve about. And we have this past year we had Des Moines Register as our official publication, and I know Steve had reached out about possibly taking over that as for our publications. I know, Bob, you've looked into this a little bit. I'm going to turn it over to you if you have some comments.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, Mayor. Steve and I have actually had at least one conversation, maybe two. I did receive also an email from his attorney on December 30th, and I did try and contact Mr. Myers both on the 30th and on the 31st, and today was not successful. I had previously sent an email to Steve back on December 10th, indicating to him that I had researched it to try and answer his question. The primary question is this. There are certain requirements to be a legal publication for a city, a county, for the state, actually for any governmental entity. And that is under Iowa Code Chapter 618.3. I believe the differing opinion between Steve and myself has to do with an interpretation of, and I'll just read the important part of it. That it is regularly mailed through the post office of entry for at least 2 years. Steve's interpretation of, or attempted interpretation, I'll say, is that 2 years means anytime during a 2-year period. My interpretation is 2 years is 24 months, not what Trish and I were talking earlier. Under Steve's interpretation, if you publish the newspaper on December 24th, 2021, and then you publish it again on January 7th, 2022, that is 2 years, meaning 21 and 22. That is not my interpretation of the code. My interpretation is that it has to be a 2-year, 24-month period. Tricia did for me look at an email that she received from Steve, and I believe publication began on July 3rd, 2020. So I believe that the council could look at this again, because this isn't forever. They could look again at this. That's way too far away for me to read, but July, whatever our first meeting is in July, I think it might be
July 5th.
I thought it might be July 5th. I thought July 4th was on a Monday. So my interpretation is a 2-year, meaning 24-month continuous publication per the Iowa Code. And I have not talked to his attorney, by the way. The attorney had requested interpretation from me. I got an email from him on December 30th. Tried to call him the 31st, and then today, and was not successful. But I did let Steve know what I was going to say tonight before we started the city council meeting.
Yeah, Steve Woodhouse, owner of the Marion County Express. Yeah, Bob and I have had conversations about this. We just have a difference of opinion. And
Excuse me.
the code does not. The code just says 2 years. It does not say 24 months. And I believe that if the legislature wanted to stay hard and fast to 2 years or 24 months, they would have written it that way. Because there are other statutes, I can't quote them, I apologize, that do indicate 24 months for a 2-year period. And as far as precedent or anything, I don't know if this has ever been litigated. But if you read the code section, the only thing that the legislature seemed concerned about is that local governments are staying accountable to their constituents. And you're more likely to stay accountable to your constituents through your legal publications in a local paper rather than the Des Moines Register that might not give any kind of notice when or where they will publish. Myself, I'll do my best. If anybody asks, looking for something, I'll do my best to get an answer, and we will certainly publish your notices as soon as we can. And I realize this might be a temporary thing anyway, because I had a long talk with Dustin Height. He's planning to make changes to the law, but the law is as it is right now. My interpretation is that 2 years, and we are already the newspaper of record for the Knoxville School District, the smaller school districts in the county, and this morning Marion County approved us as the publication of record for them as well. So, and like I say, I saw no recourse in the code that would come back against the city for failing to publish. And I believe that any reasonable judge would see why you chose to go with the local paper that is just a few months short rather than the Des Moines Register. So if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer.
I would love to have the publications local. I think it's the best way to reach out to the people. I am concerned about looking at the code when it says mailed through the post office of entry for at least 2 years.
Let me interrupt, because there's one other wording that I think is important. It also says published at least once a week, at least 50 weeks per year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combination of two things. I understand what Steve is saying in regards to what is at least 2 years, but my example of once in each week. But it does say 50 weeks. That's pretty clear.
Technically, 2 publications would fit your understanding of it. If you posted one the very last year of 21, and let's say the very next one of 22, that's 2 years. In 2 publications, you would be eligible. Is that correct?
No.
I mean,
under his interpretation,
yeah.
But you got it.
If I'm
50
understanding,
weeks.
Yeah.
that's my only concern, I think.
Well, I view it this way, Mayor. We have been the local paper for 18 months now, and we've held off on doing this until we believe that we met that 2-year requirement, and that's where we're at. And Bob's extreme example, I believe, is a little out of line. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous that a brand new paper. But I think, as I say, I believe the law was intended to show that the paper will be around for a while and would continue to be available, so that the city and their constituents wouldn't have to constantly have to revisit the situation.
Yeah, I think there's several, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, but I mean, to me, it seems like there's several intents here, of making sure it's in general circulation for a certain amount of time, so people are aware of it, and it's kind of a commonly referred to source of information, I think, would be my understanding of that. That's just the first one of the 4 requirements on the code. That's up to council.
My
Or your
bottom
thoughts?
line is that we're 18 months in, we're only 6 months away. We don't have to walk into this Des Moines Register for 2 years or 3. We can stay where we're at, so we fall within all the requirements safely, which is only 6 months from now. So, like Bob said, maybe in July, we can bring this up again, and then there is no gray, and it's not 2 years from now, it's 6 months from now.
Then I think it's a really simple, then I don't think there's even a conversation at that point in July. Would you guys?
No,
I disagree.
Okay.
A twice monthly publication, which I'm not quite sure qualifies as a newspaper, doesn't actually suit the needs of the city. If we have a weekly paper, like the Oskaloosa paper, that's
The Marion County Express is weekly, Megan.
It's weekly?
Yes.
And not twice a month?
No.
Did that change recently?
No, that's been since the start, when the Knoxville Journal Express, the corporate owned, just like Gannett owns the Register, pulled out of Knoxville.
Yeah, I've
We've
been
been
really
every
happy
week.
with the Des Moines Register or the Oskaloosa Herald.
Excuse me.
Steve, I really want to support you, and I think we should have it here in town, but I want to make sure that we're correct. I would hate to think that I have no clue what the ramifications of going with this, and then somebody calls us on it and says, this isn't right, so all of your publications for the last 2 or 3 months, whatever the case may be, suddenly are,
Invalid.
they're invalid, and I can't imagine what kind of a mess that causes with everything that would have transpired within that. Do we have, Trish, do we have any kind of, is there any contract with the register? Or, so it's just a week or week by week, whenever we need them? So come July, all we have to do is bring that up for a vote to change the official publication?
Have it on the agenda in July.
Whenever the appropriate date in July.
Well, going back to Bob's point about 50 weeks a year, I believe that is rather pointing out that we publish at least 50 weeks a year, not that we have published 50 weeks of every year of our existence. I disagree with that point. So, but I just think it would be easier and to be accountable to your constituents
No,
with us.
I don't think anybody would argue that, Steve. I think we would love to see it.
When it's legally feasible,
Yeah.
would be
I
my,
just-
would be my.
It's kind of a risk
When it's not
reward
muddy
thing. I mean,
water,
what,
when
there,
it's, yeah.
there's a risk, like John pointed out, you know, do we want to, is it worth taking that risk when we're unsure of what's going on? When July, we know for sure, if it's been in circulation for 2 years, consecutively running 2 years, then we're safe. You know, then there's no question at that point.
Well,
However, you agree with that? I mean,
Yes.
in July, we're safe. You're
Correct.
comfortable with that?
Whatever, I don't know that, Steve will be able to tell us the exact
yeah.
date that
Whenever
that the
that
publication
is.
started, whatever that, I don't know
Whatever
when it
that
was.
date is.
I honestly don't know when it was.
You
Well-
said the school and the county are both using
Yes.
the Express, and
Yeah.
they're held to the same standard.
Yeah.
In theory, I mean, they're supposed to be,
I don't know if their attorneys looked at it.
yeah.
Yeah, we have 4 school districts right now. The city of Bussey and Marion County, like I said, voted this morning to approve us.
And was Marion County's attorney there to weigh in on that?
I'm not aware. I don't know if he was on Zoom or not, but there was no objection from anybody.
Because I know they did not want to do it last year, correct?
I don't know. I wasn't there. That was Mike's deal back then.
Well, regardless, I think it's something in council that you guys have to be comfortable with moving forward with, and
And you're also allowed to choose more than one. You know, if you wanted to add the register just as a backup, you know, I don't want to promote doubling the expense, but, you know, that way you could just drop the register in July. And it's such a minimal expense when I look at the overall city budget. I mean, if you guys want to do us and the register for 6 months to cover yourselves, that's allowed by code as well.
Yeah, or, you know, if it's something that you're really passionate about for the next 6 months, if you're more than welcome to take that and publish it yourself if you want to, and then in July we can name you as the official paper at that point.
I don't know if I'm legally allowed to print the minutes like that without the payment. I'd have to look.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
It's public record.
I think it's public, yeah.
If it's public record, there would be a penalty for printing.
I wouldn't think so,
public
just a
information.
cost.
I was
With
gonna
no-
say it's a,
With no reimbursement.
it's a public service. That's why I come here and try
There
to
you
report
go.
on every meeting and, you know, everything beyond the minutes, you know, so.
I think, again,
I'm just a play it safe kind of person, if anybody
Well-
wants to override me, but I just think it is such a small time frame. Like you said,
Yeah.
if we were talking years, I would be
Yeah.
more, the loss of revenue for him, the thing, I don't wanna have us paying more to the Des Moines Register than we have to, for longer than we have to. I think their cost was probably considerably higher than what the local options were previously, but for 6 months, I think it would be less than our legal fees if we got ourselves into a pickle. Or even a question of with our legal fees, for a
Yeah.
question of
Yeah.
answering our, so that's my take, but everybody else is obviously.
if there's someone that can explain that to council, you know, and clarify what that,
Explain what?
what the 24, you know, the interpretation of that.
Well, it's
2
just
years.
differing viewpoints. You know, Bob's a lawyer. He's been doing this a lot longer than me. But I'm just looking at it differently, and like I say, I've seen other legislation that reads 24 months specifically. So,
I guess I kind of think, you know, the city has contracted employee, whatever the case is, Bob, as our representative. And for me to sit here, and I'm not an attorney, nor did I stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I can't, you know what I mean? This is why we have Bob.
Exactly.
And I can't, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with the person that we've employed to, you know, to take care of.
Be our expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be our legal expert and interpret those things.
It sounds to me like council is in agreement that we
I would like it
continue,
revisited in
In
July, at
July.
least a discussion.
continue with the Des Moines Register for now to be safe.
Until
And
6
then
months.
in that, whatever that time period is, when we're comfortable with that July, whenever that is, we can find out that everyone is more than happy to revisit it. And at that point, look into naming them as the official publication at that point.
And I'll still talk to Phil
okay.
whenever I hear from him.
Does that sound fair
Well,
enough?
and I guess unless you,
Yeah.
his lawyer presents you with an agreement.
Something that I'm not
you
aware
change
of.
your
Yeah,
mind,
yeah.
then
It
if
doesn't
that's
have
the
to be
case,
July, it
then
could be
come back
February.
with
If
it.
we
I mean,
decide in
yeah.
February, if somebody
Yeah,
brings new
If your
information.
mind
New
has
information,
changed,
yeah.
then let us know.
To-
It's-
that
I'll
clarifies that we're
definitely
not at
talk to
risk,
Phil,
we're not
but
following the
I
code.
can't think of anything
Right.
he will tell me that would,
I think
unless there's a new case law or something that I'm not aware of.
to kind of sum it up, Steve, I think everyone is in 100% agreement and support of having it locally for the most part. If it's in publication, I think most of us are in favor of it. Just want to make sure that we're doing it the right way and legally.
I understand your concern, and you know I've known Bob forever. I respect his opinion. I just disagree.
Yeah.
So, just like I say, you can choose more than one, so you can still choose us as well as the register. It would be what about $3,000 more, to include us as well as the register, and that way you'd be supporting the local business. And like I say, we have several local government entities already, so it's kind of a disappointment that you guys aren't jumping on board immediately as everybody else. But I understand. I respect your opinions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bob, do we need action to name
Yes.
the register now to move? Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. All right. Do we?
I make a motion to name the Des Moines Register as the official publication of the city of Knoxville.
Second?
Motion by Sir, seconded by Dion. Roll call, please.
Morse,
Yes.
Rankin,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Sir,
Aye.
Gata.
Yes.
Motion passes. Steve, thanks for your time and your support. And let us know if anything changes, and please get a hold of us as soon as you know that date, around that July time, and we'll be happy to revisit it.